We are due for a little reading update. I finished 2 books last week. Ladylike Rules of Attraction. The book follows Anya, who's a musician in the Queen's Court. One of her patrons is a dowager countess. When this patron passes away, she's really confused why she was asked to come to the reading of the will, and it turns out that she has left a huge part of her fortune to Anya. There's a catch though. She has to be married before she turns 25 to get the inheritance. Otherwise it goes to her trustee, cousin of this dowager's children, and someone they really don't want getting this money. The story takes us on this journey, her figuring out whether or not she can find a husband, does she want this money, and then the children that are trying to get their hands on this inheritance that they believe is rightfully theirs. The bones for this story are good. Tension between Damien and Anya, I was like, one of the main things that really gets me in especially romance novels is when the story is not driven by conversation. We spend 2 to 3 pages just like in thought. There was already so much tension built in between the 2 main characters. The actual story could have stood to have that tension in it as well. When you're dealing with historical stories, you have to deal with the social confines of the time. There used to be a lot of social structure around mourning loss, M-O-U-R. When authors are able to take the social structures of the time and make them work for their books, it often leads to supporting the social structure as opposed to trying to justify reasons for breaking code. That was the last book that I finished in January, and the first book that I read in February was a short story by Susanna Clarke, The Wood at Midwinter. It's an illustrated short story that sort of blends religion and fairy tale. I am usually amazed by short stories, especially when the author can manage to pack so much into less than 100 pages. I am in the middle of 3 books, sequel to The Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas, Celestial Monsters. I'm listening to the audiobook of Deep End by Ali Hazelwood, and I'm really enjoying that one. And I started my arc for Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, and I am devouring that book. As always, let me know in the comments what you are currently reading.